gets the service first. The same manner, uh, in data structure also, the first element that is inserted in the queue is manipulated first. Okay, so we'll quickly go through what is a queue, what are the operations possible on a queue, and then we'll see a program on queue. Okay, so basically this is the definition of a queue. Okay, it's a list with the restrictions that insertions can be done at one end and deletions can be done at other end. Suppose you are looking at a queue something like this. Okay, so we will, the first person here will be the first person who will be paying and getting the books. So the first person here will be known as standing at the front of the queue. Okay, and the last person that is present in the queue will be known as standing at the rear of the queue. So we make use of two pointers always when we are operating with queues. Okay, so the pointer front will be pointing to the first person or the first element in the queue, and the pointer rear will be pointing to the last person in the queue. Now the queue is known as a first in first out data structure. Okay, first in first out, FIFO. So why it is known as the first in first out? Because the first person that has arrived in the queue will get the service and will also leave the queue first. So first in is the person which is first out. So in the same way with data, the first element in the queue will be the first element out of the queue. So this is opposite to that of a stack. Last time when we had studied stack, we had seen that a stack is a last in first out data structure. Okay, so queue is a first in first out data structure. So basically the elements are stored in order of their indexes. Okay, new insertions can be done only at the rear. So suppose a new person comes to stand in the queue, he can be only added at the rear here. Okay, so if this is a new person, he can be only added at the rear. Deletions are done at the front. So deletions are done here, insertions are done here. Insertions done at the rear, deletions are done at the front. So basically, like I just told you, this is just a summarization. Queues have two ends. One end is called the front. Okay. By mistake, this has come wrong actually. This is should be exchanged. Okay, so this is the correct thing. Elements are added at the end called as rear, and the elements are removed from the end called as front. So basically a queue is a first in first out data structure. There are two operations that we can perform with a queue. Enqueue, which means adding an element to the queue or inserting an element to the queue. And the second operation that we can perform is dequeue, which means removing an element from the queue, or other words, deleting an element from the queue. Okay. So besides this, there's a third operation, that is display. Display is nothing but displaying the elements present in the queue. So display is normally not considered as an operation, but that is part of the program always. So the two main operations are enqueue and dequeue. So when we are doing insert operation, basically the function will be having something like this. So there will be an array known as queue. Okay, there will be an array, there will be the rear pointer, there will be a front pointer, there will be a variable n that specifies the size of the queue, the maximum size, and item will be the data that is to be inserted in the queue. So basically this is what will be present. You can just read through this. So queue will be the array that will be storing your elements. Wherever rear is pointing, there the elements will be inserted. Wherever front is pointing, from there the elements will be removed. N is the maximum size of the queue, and item will be the data that is to be added to the queue. So basically till here, is anyone having any doubts? So let's continue. So this is the algorithm for inserting an element in the queue. So initially you are going to have front and rear set equal to -1, just like a stack. How we had set the top of the stack equal to -1, like that the front and rear will be initially set to -1. Then when we are inserting, we check if the value of rear is equal to n-1. If the value of rear is equal to n-1, then we print that there is a queue overflow and we return from the function. Okay, so if this first condition is true, then we print overflow and return. Otherwise we go to the second step, increment the value of rear by 1. So initially it was -1, so -1 plus 1, it will become equal to 0. In the third step, we insert the data into the array queue. So since the value of rear will be 0, the data will be inserted into the queue at the index 0. Okay, we'll see this in the next slide. In the next step, if front is equal to -1, if this condition is true, then we will make value of front equal to 0. And once we have done that, we return from the enqueue function. Okay, so I'll just show you this example how it works. So basically when we are doing a enqueue operation, the two main steps are this: increment rear. Okay, increment rear, you increment it by 1, and then wherever rear is present at whatever index, at that index you are going to insert the data. Okay, so these are your two main steps. We'll go to the example and we'll see how to do this insert. So suppose you are having initially like this your queue. Okay, it's an array. This is an queue. Okay, initially your front variable and rear variable will be set equal to -1. Okay, when your queue is empty. Next step, if we insert one element. When we insert one element, in the first step, like it has been told here, we increment the value of rare. Okay, this will be incremented because this condition will not be true. Okay, n value here will be 5. N here will be 5. Okay, so when you check the value of rare value is -1 and n minus 1 value is 4. So this condition will not be true. So we go to the second step, increment the value of rare. So rare value we increment. When you increment the value of rare, -1 plus 1, rare value will become equal to 0. I'll just write it here. Rare will become equal to 0. So now it is present at this index. Okay. So like it has been told, in the next step, we insert the item at that index. So rare value is equal to 0. So at that index 0, in the queue, we insert our data. So the data that we are inserting is 23. Okay. So we insert this at index 0. And your rare is here now at index 0, at this index. Next, we check the value of front. What is the value of front? So when you check the value of front, okay, rare is no longer -1, so I'll just wipe it. Value of front is -1. So value of front is -1. What we do? If this condition is true, we set front equal to 0. Okay, here, since this is true, okay, here you can see front is equal to -1. So that means this condition is true. So that we set this equal to 0. So when front is set equal to 0, that means front and rare both have the value as of index 0. So therefore both of these variables are here present at index 0. Okay. So now logically, if you think what I told you at the beginning, I had told you that front will be used to point to the first element of the queue. Okay. And rare will be used to point to the last element of the queue. Okay. You can just note it down if you want in your books. So front will be pointing to the first element of the queue. Also, rare will be pointing to the last element of the queue. Now, as you can see here in the diagram, we are just having one element in the queue. Okay, that is 23. Now, this is the first element, also the last element. Therefore, since it's the first element, front is pointing here to this element. Okay, and since it is also the last element, rare is also pointing to 23. Okay, front is pointing to it because it's the first element. Since there are no more elements here, it is also the last element. Therefore, rare is also pointing to 23. Okay, got it? So now in this diagram here presently, value of front is 0, value of rare is also 0. Okay, any doubts? Any doubts, students? How you do the insert? So basically in your insert, there are two steps. Increment the pointer rare and then insert the value wherever rare is present. Only when the first element is inserted, that time we take care of the front pointer also, because front should be pointing to the first element. At no other point in the NQ operation will be touching the front pointer. Okay, front pointer will remain there only. We will only be working with the rear pointer. So let's see another NQ operation. So the next time, suppose I want to insert the element 9. Okay, I want to insert the element 9. So remember these values. N is equal to 5. Front value is 0 and rear value is 0. Okay, just remember that values. When you go here and you check this condition here, when you call this function again, this was only when the stack queue was empty. So now this will no longer be used. So we check from here. Rear value is 0. N minus 1 is 4. This is not true. So we go to the second. Increment the value of rear. So rear now, rear value was 0. So 0 plus 1, rear will become equal to 1. So next step, we insert in queue of 1. So we increment rear and there we insert the data. You can see here, I have incremented rear. Okay, I have incremented rear here, so it is equal to 1 and I insert the data there. Front remains at that position of index 0 because 23 is the first element. Okay, and rear is pointing to the last element, which in this case is 9. So in the next step, if we want to NQ 777, all we do is increment rear. So when we increment rear, rear's value will change from index 1 to index 2. So it will become index 2. We insert 77 there. But does not change. Okay. Again, we want to NQ. I will increment rear. So from 2, it will go to 3. And I will insert my element there. The fifth time when I want to do it, rear will be incremented again. So it will become 4. And the data will be inserted at index 4. So every time a NQ operation is being done, rear will be incremented. After it is incremented, you insert the data at that position. Only during the first NQ operation, we take care that front should be pointing to the first element. Okay. So any doubts till now here? Did you all get it, students? Okay. So there's one problem with NQ. Okay, that is just like your stacks. Suppose your queue is become full now, like you can see here in the diagram, and you want to NQ another element. You want to insert another element, 88. Okay, so you cannot insert because the queue is already full. So this will be known as queue overflow. Just like how you had a stack overflow when the stack was full, like that when the queue is full and you try to insert another element, it will be known as queue overflow. Okay, so you can check for this condition. I will show you later in the program how we check for queue overflow. So if you have understood NQ and no one is having any questions, we can proceed. Else I will solve your doubts. Is anyone having any problem with NQ? Okay, I'll continue then. So for delete operation, again almost the same variables are used. Q is the array. Okay, rear will point to the element which has to be inserted, the index at which the element can be inserted. Front will point to the index where the element can be removed. Okay, and the data item is assigned to the variable item. Okay, so basically this is how it will work. So if front is equal to -1 and we try to delete from that queue, then we will print that queue underflow and we will return. Okay, otherwise wherever front is pointing, from that position, from that index in the queue, we remove one element, place it in item, and then since we are deleting that item, we increment in the next step, we increment our front variable to the next index. So we increment it like this. And suppose this condition holds true in the fourth point, if front becomes equal to rare due to deletions, then we will set this front equal to rare equal to -1. Okay, so I'll basically show you how this works. Suppose you are having this queue. We had already done this NQ operation. So this is your queue now, as of now. Okay, after you have done the NQ, front is present at index 0, rare is present at index 4. So suppose I want to delete. Okay, so when I want to delete, that is DQ, I will always do the DQ operation at using the front pointer. When I want to DQ, the first element that will be DQ'd will be 23. So since front is present at index 0, that is why 23 is getting DQ'd. Okay, please understand that why 23 is getting DQ'd. That is because front is present at index 0. So the way to do it is, I remove this 23, I will place it in some variable. Okay, like I told you here, I remove the 23, place it in this variable, say item. Okay, and then in the next step, I increment the value of front. So front will move to the next index. You can see here in the next diagram, I remove this element 23 here, and front has been incremented from index 0 to index 1. So you can see here, front is now present at index 1. Again, if I now want to DQ, the element present at this index where front is present now at index 1. So this element will get DQ'd. Once you DQ it, front will be shifted again to the next index. So 1 plus 1, it will become 2. So you can see that in the next diagram. When I delete 9, 9 will get deleted and front will get shifted to the next element. Again, if I call the DQ function, then 777 will be deleted, front will be shifted to the next index. So front will become 3. If I DQ again, 462 will be deleted, front will get shifted to the next. So you can see here, 462 deleted, front is shifted to the next. Again, if I call DQ, 300 gets deleted. Okay, now you can see there is a special thing that has occurred. Front value is 4, rare value is 4. Okay, now when you remove this 300, what happens to the queue? The queue becomes empty. Whenever the queue is empty, the value of front and rare should be equal to -1. Okay, so how we do that in programming is, okay, we can see here in the next diagram also, when I remove this 300, queue becomes empty. Okay, just before your queue becomes fully empty, the value of front is 4, the value of rare is 4. That means the value of front and rare is equal. In other words, it is equal to 4. So when the queue becomes empty, the value of front and rare should be equal to -1. So I take care of that here in this fourth step. Okay, I say when the value of front and rare is equal, I should change the value of front and rear equal to -1 because I'm doing a deletion. And when I'm doing the deletion, that means this I'm deleting the last element that is present in my queue. After I delete the last element that is present in my queue, the values of these variables front and rear should be equal to -1. Okay, so that is what I do. So you can see here in this diagram, front and rear is equal. When I delete this, after deletion the queue becomes empty, and because the queue is empty, values of front and rear will be set equal to -1. That happens here in this step, in this condition. After that I return from the function. That is how your dequeue function works. Dequeue operation of queue works. Okay, so dequeue is done at the front and enqueue is done at the rear. So yeah, so we have seen both these operations. Do you all have any doubt in enqueue or dequeue? No doubts? Should we continue? Okay, if you have understood, then take one question. Perform the following operations on a queue. Perform the following operations on a queue of size 5. First, enqueue 5, then enqueue 6, enqueue 7, enqueue 8, and dequeue, then again dequeue, then enqueue 9, enqueue 12. Okay, do it step by step. At each step, you should show the position of the front and the rear pointers. At each step, show the position of the front and the rear pointers. So do it on your notebooks.
So could you repeat the question?
Yes, I'll repeat. Yes. Perform the following operations on a queue of size 5. Okay, size 5. Enqueue 5, comma, enqueue 6, comma, enqueue 7, comma, enqueue 8, comma, dequeue, comma, dequeue. So there are 2 times dequeue, comma, enqueue 9, enqueue 12. Initially, front and rear equal to -1. So this you should assume, okay? It will not be given in the question. Initially, front and rear will be equal to -1. So show all the operations stepwise, showing the positions of your front and rear and the values in your array. when you finish, type the values of your front and rear at what index they are present in the chat. Okay. If you have solved or not solved, I don't know, but I'll solve it on the. I'll solve it on from my end, so you can check if you have made any mistake. Okay. So I hope you can see the screen again. So this is basically the question that I told you. Okay. So I'll just make the question little that you can see. So what I told you was initially the queue size was n. I told you to nq these elements 2 times dq and then nq 2 more elements. Okay. So we'll start with this. So initially your front value and rear value are both equal to -1. Okay. So this is what is your front and rear value initially. So your queue is empty. Now when I want to NQ 5, so I will increment this rear. Okay. So when I increment the rear, so rear value will become equal to, when you increment, rear value will become 0. So -1 plus 1, it becomes equal to 0. That means rear is present here. Okay. Is present here at 0. Okay. At this index. Wherever rear is present, there we do the insertion. So 5 gets inserted here. Okay. Now, only when you do the first insert, I told you that we should also take care of the front variable. Since this is the first element, therefore front also should be present at index 0. So I make front also equal to 0. So at this point here, I got front also present at index 0 and rear present at index 0. Okay, I hope you can see both are present at this index 0. Okay, and 5 has got inserted. Next time I want to, next step. Okay, now you have to do it step by step. I will be showing you on this same diagram. So in the next step you will have to actually show it in a, you will have to draw this diagram again actually. In the next step you increment rear. Okay, so when you do NQ operation, you only work with this pointer or the variable rear. You don't work with this front. Front you do it only during the first insertion. Front is done during only the first insertion. After that, front is not touched. Okay, we only work with rear. Whenever you want to insert, I increment this rear. Okay, so it will go to the next. Rear will go to the next. Okay. Now rare is present at index 1. So wherever it is present, at that index I insert my value. So 6 gets inserted here. The next step again I want to insert 7. So rare will go to the next, 7 will come here. Next I want to insert 8. Rare will go to the next and 8 will come here. Okay. So till now, is it clear how it is working? Any doubts? Is anyone having any doubt? Okay. So till here we are done NQ till 8. Now I say DQ. When I say DQ, deletion is done at the wherever variable front is present. Okay. So deletion is done wherever front is present. So when I am deleting an element, I delete this. After deleting the first element where front is present, I shift front to the next index. So front goes forward. It goes from index 0 to index 1. So I have done this DQ. Okay, I'll just highlight this in red what we have already finished. This is over. Again there is DQ. When I do DQ, I delete this. Front is shifted forward. Okay, so this is done. DQ is done. Now what I want to do after DQ, NQ. Okay, so when I want to NQ, there is shifted forward and the element 9 is inserted there. So this has got NQ. Next time I want to NQ, okay, when I want to NQ 12, if I try to shift rare forward, I don't have any more array here. So it will result in Q overflow. Next time I try to NQ 12, it will result in Q overflow. Okay. So your final positions of front and rear is this. Front value is 2. The index value I'm saying index front is present at index 2 and rear is present at index 4. The value of front is 7 at index 2. The value of the Q at index 4 is 9. Okay. So your final answer will be this. So are you all getting it? Okay. So I can see some people were typed in the chat had got it a bit wrong. Okay, Malikesh has got it correct. But the others, I hope, have you all understood? The others, I can see there are 49 people, but I can just see 2-3 people replying in the chat. Okay. If you'll say you'll have understood, then do one more so that we are all sure that you have understood. Okay. So do one more quickly. So take down next problem. Perform the following operations on a queue of size 5. First, NQ 12, NQ 60, NQ 45, NQ 90, NQ 66, then DQ, write DQ 3 times. So we're going to perform the DQ 3 times. Then NQ 4, NQ 7, NQ 8. So assume I have told you what you have to assume the initial values of front and rear. So once you assume those values, start and tell me the final values of the index for front and rear. Please do it stepwise. Don't do it in the same diagram. Okay. So you are saying it is going to be front will be 3 and rear will be 4. Okay. Let's do it and see. Okay, I'll do it quickly. So basically what we are doing now is initially front and rear is equal to -1. Okay. I'll just write it here. Front and rear is equal to -1. I increment rear. The rear will be here. I insert 12. Okay. Then front also will be positioned here. Okay. Because like I have told you, first step is increment rear, insert the data at the rear. When you are doing the first insertion, front also should be pointing to the first element. Then you insert 60. So when you insert 60, rear is incremented. So rear will come here, index 1, and you insert 60. When you insert 45, rear will come here, 45 will be inserted. Insert 90, so you will increment rear, 90 will be inserted here. Insert 66, increment rear, 66 will be put here. Okay. So after you finish all these inserts or the NQs, your array will look somewhat like this. Okay. After that, when you start with the DQ, you delete this element, increment front. Second DQ, when you are finished with this DQ, the second DQ, delete the element, increment front. This is done. Third DQ, delete the element, increment front. So you will get like this. At the end of PQ, your diagram will look somewhat like this. Okay. Now, When you try to NQ, what will happen? If you have two steps for NQ is like this: increment rare. Can you increment rare? You cannot increment rare any further because you have reached the end of the array. When you try to NQ4, you will say Q overflow. Same way, when you try to NQ7, you cannot increment rare any further, Q overflow. And when you want to NQ8, again it is Q overflow. All the time it will happen Q overflow. Suppose I have to tell you another DQ. Okay, suppose I have to tell you another DQ. So what you would have done? This would have got deleted and front would have gone to here. Okay. Then again, if I tell you, I would have told you to perform another DQ. Then since you are deleting this, and now the queue is empty, front and rear would have been equal to -1. Okay, that was in case we had these two more DQs. Okay, so if you are not having these two more DQs, then value of front equal to 3 and value of rear equal to 4 is correct. So I hope all of you are getting. Okay, I just showed you till there. If you are not getting, I'll share the recorded link of this. You can go through it. Okay, go through it. It is not confusing. Basically, this is what we are doing here. What I have put in this box. Okay, so when we insert or we NQ, I increment rear, insert data at where rear is present, and I take care of the front variable only during the first insertion. When I do the DQ, I delete the data. After deleting the data, increment the front variable. There is only one special case. When front is equal to rear, I make front and rear both equal to -1. Okay. This at the end here that I have written are the special case. Okay, so we'll quickly do this program. Okay, the program is the same as what we have just done just now. Okay, so that's why we before we forget this, we'll just do it quickly. So we are having these are our header files. Okay, then I defined our queue of size 5. So remember, we are doing a program now which is using queues using arrays. So queues can also be implemented using linked lists. So right now we are just looking at how queues can be implemented using arrays. When we are doing the NQ, we check for the queue overflow condition like this. If rear value is equal to max -1, okay, that means queue is full, and we return. So for example, this was your queue and I had some values present in the queue. Okay, that means this would have been front, this would have been rear. Okay, so what is the value of rear? Value of rear would have been 4. So that is what we are checking here. N-1 or max -1. Max -1 would have been 4. And in spite of that, if we try to insert, okay, you can see queue is full, and despite that, if we try to insert, that means this condition will be triggered. Okay, this condition will be triggered, and I will print this message, queue is full, and I will exit my program using this return statement. So I will go back to the main. If this condition is not true, suppose it was something like this. Okay, suppose it was rear was here. Okay, at index 2. Then, and I wanted to insert say some element 20. Okay, and what would I have done? I would have incremented the value of rear. I would have incremented rear, so rear would have come here. The next line, I insert the value, that value which is 20 here. That is done through programming here. The rare value, the value of rare, which is 3, at that index in the array, I insert the value 20. Okay. Now, if you check this condition and it is true, then you would have set the value of front equal to 0. And if you look at this present diagram, that does not get triggered. Okay. In the present state, front, this is not true, but the value of front is 0. Okay. But if the value of front was equal to -1, like I've told you before, then I would have made the value of front equal to 0. Okay. So I just put this here, P. You can remove it if you want and call it as front and rear. It is fine. Okay. So basically, this is the same way this coding has been done, the way you have just done the examples. So if you were inserting and the queue was empty, if you were doing the first insertion, at that time your value of front and rear would have been equal to -1. That time how it would have got worked was like this. Okay, I would have checked this condition. This would not be true because rear value is equal to -1. Okay, this would not be true. So I would increment the value of rear. Rear would have become equal to 0. So rear would have become equal to 0. That is here. Rear would have become here at index 0. At index 0, then you insert your data, whatever data you are inserting. So suppose you are inserting the value, say 99. Now you check this condition. Is the value of front equal to -1? Yes, value of front is equal to -1. It is true. So what you make? Make front equal to 0. So rear and front both are present at index 0. This is how your enqueue function works. Any doubts in this enqueue? Anyone? You can type in the chat if anyone has not understood. It's the same thing basically what we have done in that example of yours that I gave you. Okay. Then I'll continue. Okay. So DQ will be the same thing like how we have done. So DQ will be, if we try to delete from a empty queue, see initially imagine your queue like this. So front equal to rear equal to -1. Okay, your queue is empty. So if queue is empty and you're still trying to delete from that queue, okay, I call this DQ function, then that means this will be true. Like here, front is equal to -1. It is true. So that time I will print this message, queue is empty. Okay, and I will return some value null. Why I'm returning this value here null? Because I mentioned here that I'll be returning something, int value. So in the return type of the function, I mentioned that the function will be returning a integer value. So if I don't put this null here and I just say like this, I will get one error because it is not returning anything. So you have to return something. And since you are printing an error message, that queue is empty, you cannot return any numerical value here, any integer value. So you may as well return the value null. Okay, that's why I put here value as null. Okay, so that happens when you try to dequeue from an empty queue like this. Otherwise, suppose you had some values. Suppose you had some values like this. Okay, say your front was here and rear was here. The value of front is index, it's at index 0 and rear is at index 2. Okay, so in that case, suppose I'm deleting. Deletion always happens at the front, Remember, division always happens from the front. If you are getting confused, or always think that you are standing in a queue for buying a ticket for a movie. Okay, so you imagine when someone is getting added to the queue, does he get added at the front of you? If someone comes and stands in front of you, will you allow him or you will beat him up? You will obviously beat him up. No? You will tell him go behind. So always element gets inserted at the end, and the person who's standing first at the front gets the ticket first. The division happens at the front. Remember like that, okay? If you are getting confused. Addition happens at the rear. Rear means end. Front means beginning. So at the front, at the start, whoever is present, there the division happens. The person is removed from the queue from the front. So now let's look at the code. So if I want to delete, the deletion will happen at the front. So 10 will get deleted. So I will check this condition. Value of front is not equal to -1 because front is equal to 0. So I come here. I remove the value present at that. So I remove this value 10. Okay. I remove this 10 and I assign to the variable data. Okay, I remove that 10 which is present at that index and I give it to this variable data. Now I replace that what I deleted with the value 0. I replace this with 0. Now this step may not be done. Okay, in case you don't do this step, remember your 10 actually, although deleted, will remain in the array. Okay, like I've told you before, 10 would have remained there. Okay, since I'm only taking that value 10 and I'm giving to this variable data. So in order to make sure that you are not getting confused or something, what I did, I replaced that value 10 with the value 0. Because now 10 is present in that variable data. I'll just write it here. Variable data is having the value 10. Okay, and I'm replacing this with 0 to make to show you that it has got deleted. You may not put this line. Okay, it's not necessary. Next, I check if value of front is equal to rear. So when I check, value of front is 0, value of rear is 2, not true. I go to the else part. So in the else part, I increment the value of front. Okay, so front will move to the index now 1. Now front is present at index 1. Okay, and in the last line here, I return the value present in the variable data. What is present in the variable data? 10. So I send this value back to the main function. So I send this value back to the main. That's why, since data is an integer value and I'm returning that here, that's why I have to put here integer. Okay, otherwise I would have got an error. So whatever element I'm deleting, that is 10, I'm sending back to the main function. So in the main function, okay, right now nothing is being done, but you could have printed that value that 10 has got deleted. The last function that you have to see is display function. I want to display all the values that are present between front and rear. Okay, so right now you can see the values that are present between front and rear are 20 and 30. So I start my printing from I equal to front. Now I want to print stop till stopping condition is I should get incremented till I reach rear. Between front and rear, everything will get printed. So these two values will get printed, 20 and 30. Okay, this is the way your queues using array function is done. It's quite similar to your stack function, except that we don't decrement any value in stacks. When we pop a value, we decrement the top of the stack variable. Here we don't decrement the variables, both the variables are incremented. If we insert, we increment the rear pointer, and if we delete, we increment the front. And there are two special cases to take care. When we enqueue, which is the first insertion, then we make front point to the index 0, and when we dequeue, if front and rear becomes equal, the values of front and rear become equal, that means we are deleting the last element. So therefore front and rear should be made equal to -1. So to take care only of this. So any doubts in this code that I've just explained? Okay, students, in unit 2 especially, you will be needing three concepts, very important concepts that I need you to revise. Okay, when we start unit 2, you are going to have that difficulty, so I'm telling you well in advance. We are not near ending unit 1, but I'm just telling you well in advance. So these are the three units that the three concepts that we are going to need for unit 2, and if you don't know them so well, you will find that unit 2 and 3 difficult. The three concepts that you need to revise, okay, is recursion, structures, and pointers. So if you don't know these three concepts, you will find it difficult in unit 2 especially. Okay, so recursion, structures, and pointers. Whenever you get some time free, please go through these three topics. They have already been done for you in your previous semester. So please go through these three topics, okay, and then you will find it easier to understand what we will be doing in unit 2. So anyone has any doubts here before we stop? See, in our main function, like you can see, I've declared a queue. Okay, I've called it as ARR, and I've initialized my front and rear equal to -1. Okay, instead of calling as front, I've called it as P front and I've called it as P rear. But you can just, if you want, rename them as front and rear so that you're comfortable. So any doubts here? If you have understood, can you tell me the disadvantage? If you have understood, what is the disadvantage when you are solving both the problems that I gave you today? When you got the stack overflow condition, I'll give you a hint. And you, sorry, the queue overflow condition. You got the queue overflow condition, you may have noticed something. Can someone tell me what you may have noticed the disadvantage of this program, limitation of this program?
So
Yes.
even though there was memory, we couldn't use it.
Correct. So what Carson meant by that is, I'll just do this now quickly. Okay, we have already done it. So first we had already inserted these 5 elements. So we had here 12, 60, 45, 90, 66. Okay, so we had this. So front was here and rear was here. And what I did, 3 times I did dequeue. So I removed this, I removed this, I removed this. That means front was present here. Okay. This was after I did 3 times dequeue. Okay, so front is at index 3, rear is at index 4. Now I want to enqueue more 3 elements. Okay, so when I want to enqueue, my 2 steps are like this: increment rear. So when I want to increment rear, what happens? I don't have more array here. Since I don't have more array here, I cannot enqueue. So I will say queue overflow. But do I have place here in the array? Actually, yes, I've deleted these elements here at index 0, 1 and 2. So since I've deleted, this is actually free here, what I'm highlighting in green. Okay, this memory here is free in the array. But how my enqueue function is working? I can only increment rare. So if I increment rare, it will become 5. So I don't have 5 in my array, index 5. I am not able to insert this value there. None of these values actually. If there was some way, when I reach at the end, if I can make rare go back here, okay? If you can make rare go back here and then insert this 4 here, then that would solve the problem. So that is something is known as, that actually has been done by someone. So that is known as a circular queue. Okay, we'll see it later. So right now I'll not tell you much about it. So the problem of this queues program is I cannot insert in the queue array, although I had free memory locations. Okay, so I was giving the messages queue overflow, but actually my queue was not full. I had empty memory here. Okay, so that's the limitation of this program. So I hope you understood the limitation. Any questions before we? Yeah, even Yash has said the same thing. Okay. So any more questions? Any doubts before we stop?
So,
Yes.
so can we decrement front?
No. No. Front will be always pointing. Why you want to decrement front? Because this front will be always pointing to the first element. No, now 90 is the first element and 66 is the last element. The front points to the first element. Why would you want to decrement front?
So
So to insert elements.
No, but we are not doing insertion using front. No, we do deletions using front.
Okay.
so
Yes.
so for so while deleting the elements from the queue, so we can use the concept of deleting elements from array, no? So like we can decrement the rear, we can remove the first element at 0 and replace it with the first, like that, the second.
No, no, but
So
that
like
is,
so we can do like the R of, so that the array is there, no? We can do that first element is the 0th element is equal to first, then first is equal to second, like that. Keep
yeah, I got
doing
it.
like.
But that is not
So
how
and
the,
then
yeah,
in the end
Jawad,
we can put rear is equal to the second last.
got it. I got it what you're trying to tell. But that is not how the queues are implemented. Okay, queues are not implemented like that. So queues are implemented the way I've taught you. So I understood what you're telling. You want to shift the elements, like how I told you in the beginning of when we are studying linked list, right? You're talking of
Yes, sir.
shifting the elements, but that's
Yes,
not
sir.
the way the queues have been implemented. Okay, so the queues have been implemented this way, the way I've taught you. So right now, when we study queues using arrays, this will be the way it will be implemented. So we are not going to do shifting. When we do shifting of elements, that's not part of the queues. That is part of arrays. Okay, and we are not implementing here a array. We are not performing operations on an array. We are performing operations on a queue, and the two
So
operations
yeah, so I
are,
meant with the array. So when we are using arrays, we can do like that, I was saying.
no, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. The two operations that we are performing are enqueue and dequeue. When we are performing enqueue, we increment rare, insert the value wherever rare is present, and when we do dequeue, we delete the data and then increment front. Basically, these are the two operations on a queue. Okay, so there's no shifting involved in of data in these two operations. Okay, but in order to overcome this, they came up with another concept known as circular queues. We'll study that later. Okay, so that time also we are continuing with these two operations, but we can make use of this free memory locations in the array. So again, they don't introduce all those concepts of shifting, and also whenever this data structure was designed, they have taken care that only two operations should be present, that is enqueue and dequeue, and exactly defined the way I taught you today. Okay? So these free memory locations will be taken care with a concept known as circular queue, which I will teach you later. Okay, but I like the way you have thought about it, Yamano, so it's good. So any more questions? Okay, then we'll stop for today, and then tomorrow we'll meet. Students, tomorrow we'll be starting with the practicals. So I'll be telling you about the practicals. Also, I'll be teaching you another new concept. Okay. So I hope to see all of you tomorrow morning. So till then, take care.